don't spend too much time thinking about things like our life insurance. Mick certainly didn't, and he had protection in case anything happened. Or so he thought. Instead, a loophole saw his policy cancelled. Now he's sick and time is running out.
My life expectancy is 1 to 2 years, but anything can happen in between.
Mick Simons needs a heart.
I am listed for a heart transplant, but it's not guaranteed as well.
While he waits, he'd love to plan a wedding, get healthy enough to walk the dogs beyond the end of the street, and access his superannuation and insurance.
It's hard because I go to sleep every night knowing that I'm dying. And I wake up in the morning and I'm glad to be awake because I've made it through the night.
He's not just in the fight for his life. Mick's also fighting a multi-billion-dollar financial institution.
I don't have much energy left and I know that my time's running out, but I've just got this fight in me.
This is just some of the paperwork and back and forth you've been dealing with.
Yes.
Mick says he took out life insurance in 2002 with MLC Super, and total and permanent disablement insurance was added in 2013.
I took out these insurance policies on my super to protect my family. I never wanted to look back at those insurances.
But now that's all he does. Look back on policies he says were there one day and gone the next.
It was just news to me when I found out that my insurance had been cancelled.
It wasn't until Mick had a stroke that he got the gut-wrenching diagnosis and the news. He wasn't covered.
Biventricle arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy. It's where both my ventricles in my heart have been affected by this gene and failing.
The same gene, he says, took his dad at 69. His sister is a carrier too.
Mentally, it's very hard. I look at life differently. I think, life can be short, life can be cruel.
In the lead up to the stroke, Mick was hardly working.
I couldn't walk a flight of stairs. I'd get to the top of the stairs and I was gasping for air and totally out of breath and feeling dizzy.
Too sick to work full-time as a construction manager, Mick was doing some self-employed work, but wasn't receiving super payments. That meant his account became inactive in the eyes of the law, and Mick's cover was cancelled. It happened due to federal government reform called the PYS scheme, aimed at protecting people's super from unnecessary fees and premiums. But it also meant insurers were required to cancel insurance cover in accounts that had been inactive for 16 months if the member did not request to opt in. In Mick's case, he says he would have opted in had he known.
My heart sank. Yeah, I was devastated. They had up-to-date details of my address. They had up-to-date details of my email address.
MLC Super say between 2019 and 2023, 12 letters, emails and online notifications were sent to inform Mick. But with no written response, his cover was cancelled in August 2020, in line with government legislation.
I never saw a letter.
It does sound unusual to me. We have a system that Australia Post works, emails usually work, they arrive. If they don't, you get told that they've not arrived.
Principal lawyer at Leonard and Welch, Michael Bates.
The insurer and super fund should be able to prove to Nick that they wrote to him. And these are big companies, they usually have robust systems. But in big companies, things get lost. So it is quite possible that they say they emailed or contacted him, but they didn't. And I'd be certainly putting them to their proof.
When a current affair asked MLC Super for that proof, it was referred to company owner Insignia Financial, who provided the 12 letters. But Mick maintains he never received them.
I can't even get insurance now that it's lapsed because I'm terminal and diagnosed. I can't attain insurance now.
With or without the mystery letters, Mick says MLC Super didn't alert him when he withdrew super during the pandemic.
I spoke to them in that 16-month period and not one mention from any MLC staff member that there was this risk of cancellation of insurance.
Mick has engaged the Australian Financial Complaints Authority, which is now investigating.
There's no doubt there would be hundreds, maybe thousands of people that are in this predicament.
His advice: always check your statement.
Usually on the second or third page you'll see whether you have total and permanent disability and death cover, and just check or ring the fund. You'll probably lose 30 minutes of your time on hold, but it's worth it, isn't it?
All I can do is stress to everyone, check your policies, because if I haven't been notified, most probably you haven't either.
It's just not one of those things you pay close attention to, is it? Well, let's hope Mick can get it sorted, because the last thing he needs right now is this stress.